Well, we finally got our first look at the brand new Kelly Green jerseys that are apparently going to be on sale very, very soon. This wide receiver in the Hall of Fame absolutely raves about DeVonta Smith, and a former Eagle makes fun of the Eagles despite not being on the Eagles. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Monday. A lot of stuff going on, but first, set your alarms for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eagles single-game tickets will go on sale, and you have the chance to sit in a queue and probably not get a ticket to any of the games that you want, therefore having to go to Ticketmaster and Vivid Seats and SeatGeek and buy them third party or third hand for a little bit more money like everybody else does. So while it's very exciting, they're going to have their first chance or your first chance of getting tickets. The odds of you getting them are going to be slim. Let me know if you do get one or which games you guys are trying to go to here in the 2023 season. They're also going to have their first open practice at the Link on Sunday, August 6th at 7 p.m. Those tickets will go on sale tomorrow morning as well. And we finally have a training camp report date with Philadelphia reporting to camp on Tuesday, July 25th, a little less than 2 months from today. Now, moving over here to the Kelly Green Jersey Watch. This is from sportslogos.net. We finally have our first look at the Kelly Green throwback jerseys in retail form, aka the ones that you and I can buy, and honestly, they look really, really good. I mean, look at these pictures up on your screen right now. It looks like some people were at the official Eagles team store and were able to pick these up, or I think this was a different game day store that had these here in terms of the jerseys. They look fantastic. It's exactly what you wanted. They have the old Eagles logo there on the side, the Kelly Green, the numbers look absolutely incredible. These are going to be super, super hot. It basically takes, the Randall Cunningham jersey and updates it into the modern era to where you're going to wear this around and they're going to know it's the new jersey, but it's also going to have a great throwback to the old jerseys. I mean, this goes back to, 1960, 1963. They haven't really worn these since the 2010 season opener against the Green Bay Packers. That was the one Michael Vick came in and almost led them on a comeback, but this is going to be very, very fun. I'm going to pick one up. The question is, which one are you going to pick up? You want a Hurts one? You want a Smith one? You want an A.J. Brown one? Let me know your jersey of choice, and if you will be picking up one of the Kelly Green jerseys. Okay, let's go over here to a former Philadelphia Eagle wide receiver who now is in the Hall of Fame. Well, he was asked about DeVonta Smith, that being Terrell Owens, and he raved about him. Listen to this, quote, "That right there, that was my first time seeing him ball out." Owens said of Smith's game-winning touchdown, "I'd admire this guy's game for so long. He's been excellent ever since. He's obviously doing really great things in Philly, where the expectations are high. His game speaks for itself," end quote. That was via, obviously, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and this all stems from the fact that Terrell Owens was at I believe it was at the second annual DeVonta Smith Celebrity Softball game over the weekend, which you're seeing some clips of here on your screen right now. Jalen Hurts was there, a bunch of fans were in attendance, all a good cause, raising money for charity, but very cool to see T.O. rave about one Eagle wide receiver. Now, he didn't talk anything about A.J. Brown, not anything that I saw. I don't think it was a slight at all. I just think Smitty is drawing a lot of interest from some of these wide receivers due to the fact that Smitty's a little younger than A.J. Brown, been doing it for less seasons, and yet seemingly is going to be one of the top wide receivers in the league going into the 2023 year. I think 1,000 yards is all but guaranteed. He had it last year as a number 2. I think this could be the breakout season for DeVonta Smith, and there's an argument you could take him over A.J. Brown in your fantasy football league. Okay, you've probably seen this very interesting remark from Miles Sanders, where he was in front of Carolina Panthers people at a Panther OTA, Panther interview, podium, whatever it is, and he basically took a shot at Philadelphia and the fact they didn't use him all but 7 carries overall in the Super Bowl. Listen to this, quote, "The last game of the season. For all the marbles, everybody can answer that question. If they put themselves in my shoes, would they be happy? I don't want to make headlines, but it does. I don't care." Now, he would go on to say, "I can get into that another day. Maybe you should ask them why I'm moving here," end quote. And this all stems from the fact that he was barely used in the Super Bowl. I only had 7 carries for 16 yards, only played in 26 snaps. However, he fumbled out of bounds on the opening play from scrimmage and didn't do much with the football his 6 other touches. And so it seemingly was like Philadelphia didn't want to give him the rock because he wasn't ready for the big moment, maybe a little bit overwhelmed by the pressure. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't, but you fumble your opening touch. Sure, it went out of bounds. You're not going to give you the rock in what was a very tight, highly contested football game where possessions really mattered. And Kenny Gainwell played great. I mean, Philadelphia's offense did not lack the ability to move the football. They were able to move the football just fine. It's not like Miles Sanders would have made them score more points because they scored a ton of points overall in that football game. And so it's interesting to see some of these players, they leave Philadelphia and then they take shots at Philadelphia, and yet they seemingly love Philadelphia. Sanders was reported saying he wanted to stay in Philadelphia. C.J. Gardner-Johnson wanted to stay in Philadelphia, and yet he started running his mouth. It seems like people get upset, they get a little butthurt, and honestly, maybe rightfully so. You can't blame Miles Sanders for wanting to stay in Philadelphia for the right price. Philadelphia lowballed him. And yet, when you look at the Eagles side of things, they were able to get 4 running backs for the price of 1, adding DeAndre Swift, signing Rashad Penny, obviously Gainwell, bringing back Boston Scott. They all cost less than Miles Sanders' $6 million a year contract with Carolina. I have nothing against Sanders. I wanted the Eagles to re-sign him. I wish him the best, but seemingly pretty dumb to keep taking shots at your former football team. You'd think these guys would learn their lesson. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You should not talk about what happened, but this doesn't seem like a battle you're going to win. It's not like you balled out in the Super Bowl and then were benched. You didn't ball out very well, and they benched you because other people were playing better. Okay, move over here to, speaking of running backs, Nick Sirianni keeps bringing up Trey Sermon. I mean, literally every single time Nick Sirianni is asked about the running back slot, he really mentions how great of a guy Trey Sermon is. And yet when they finished up their final OTA practice this past week, and when they finally had their final meeting with Nick Sirianni at the podium, he said this about Trey Sermon, quote, "We have Trey too, who we're really excited about," end quote. That was from Nick Sirianni when he was asked about, Gainwell and Swift and Penny, and then, Sirianni just butts in and says, we have another guy too, and it's Trey Sermon. We're very excited about him. How are they going to keep Trey Sermon on this roster? Like, seriously, I really don't know how they're going to keep him on the roster when they have 4 running backs, unless you're going to dress 4 and have him as a practice squad guy like they did this past season, but that doesn't show me that you actually care about him or think he's that great because he's not playing ahead of Boston Scott or Kenny Gainwell. Like, if he was really that special, we were really that excited for him, he would really compete for an open roster. Now, sure, maybe Boston Scott doesn't win the 4th running back job or the running back by committee 4th slot, and Sermon kind of vaults over him, but they're not going to dress 5 running backs. And so it's very fascinating to me to see these continued comments about how great Trey Sermon is, and yet it doesn't seem like there's, 1, a spot for him on the actual 53-man roster, and 2, it doesn't seem like they want to get rid of anybody to promote him to one of those active spots. So we'll see. I think the running back spot is set either way. I don't think Sermon makes them that much better either way, whether he makes them better or worse. I think it'll be the Swift, Penny, and Gainwell show with little hints here and there, maybe in the Giants game with Boston Scott, but very curious to see where you guys are at with Trey Sermon, if you think he can actually make the Eagles roster when we get back to training camp on July 25th and really get that position battle going full steam ahead. Okay, moving over here to DJ Fluker. We mentioned him on a show a couple of weeks ago. Philadelphia was having a open workout with him, meeting with the former offensive lineman who played tackle and guard, moved around the National Football League, former first-round draft pick. Well, the Eagles did not sign him, and right now he's going to be working out with the Patriots, or at least did this morning. Quote, "Free agent offensive lineman DJ Fluker working out with the Patriots this morning. Sources tell The Score. Fluker is making his return to the NFL after dropping over 40 pounds. He most recently worked out for the Eagles." And so maybe this makes it a little more incentivized to go get him if you're Philadelphia, because no one else had a formal workout with him, and so the Eagles could kind of wait for training camp to come around and see if they wanted to add to the offensive line spot if people were struggling. If Tyler Steen wasn't ready, or Landon or Cam Jurgens wasn't looking good at right guard. But if he's working out with other teams, that means obviously he's getting a lot more interest, and he could be signed sooner rather than later. So if you're Philadelphia and you want to sign him, you probably should do it pre-training camp instead of waiting to not even have a chance to sign him because teams apparently are interested. I think Fluker's going to get signed somewhere. It really makes you wonder if the Patriots have another offensive lineman potentially holding out of training camp, and so Fluker could be a leverage game in terms of that. But if you guys think they should get DJ Fluker, they need to do so sooner rather than later. Now, I say this towards the end of the show, but the Eagles do get an NFC Championship game ring. You forget that this actually happens here whenever you don't make it to the Super Bowl or you don't win the Super Bowl, but they do win the NFC, and so that they get a ring. Here's the picture from John Clark. Kayvon Wallace got his, presented by Jeffrey Lurie to Kayvon Wallace and the rest of the team, and they look really good. I mean, these are cool rings. The problem is it's not a ring that you can get very excited about because it's not a Super Bowl ring. I mean, sure, you put it on your wall or you put it on your, bookshelf and you keep it and you remember that team because of how special the 2022 team was, but the fact that they didn't win the Super Bowl means you don't wear this or out and about. At least I wouldn't. I mean, I would love to have one of these, but I wouldn't wear it out and about. Very curious to see if anyone else posts a picture of these. Kayvon Wallace posting his. It's still a cool thing to do. I mean, we don't even go to NFC Championship games. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have never won an NFC Championship game with Dak at the helm, so it's a cool thing, but it's not necessarily the coolest thing in the entire world, and it's a bummer that Philadelphia doesn't have Super Bowl rings to go ahead and flex and flaunt. Okay, final storyline here. This is a little more NFL-based, but it does matter for Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley is going to hold out of training camp until he gets a brand new deal. Here was his answer when asked about what's going on with the situation.
Saquon, quick question about the market for running backs. Do you think maybe, in the next collective bargaining or something that the union and the owners can come together and find something that works out better for running backs? Because it seems like a lot of guys are just not being paid at the value that they need to be paid.
I don't know, because that's going to be in 10 years. And to be honest, I love the game a lot, but I don't see myself being on a football field in 10 years. But what I will say about the running back market and the value of it, what do you think is going to happen? You know, they tagged the top 3 guys. We didn't even get a chance to hit the open market. So when we don't get a chance to hit the open market, it hurts a guy like Miles. It hurts all those other guys. They put the cap at 10. And then when they have the tag, they have all the leverage. And that's the reality of it. But there's a personal side of it too. There's a human side of it too. And going off back to the question what Kim said, how I felt like that, they're diminishing what I've done since 2018. I'm not saying that, but everyone will talk about the running back market and this and that and the third. Every team is different. Like everyone, there's a thing that goes up, and I think you mentioned it before about quarterbacks in the Super Bowl and how many rushing yards, the top rusher. But every team is not like every team. Pat Mahomes is a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time MVP, and like this is not everybody have Pat Mahomes, and this is no knock to Daniel Jones, so don't even try to flip like that. And then you look at the Eagles who play. Jalen Hurts, a great quarterback. That team is amazing, but every team is not the Eagles. Every team don't have that much talent. And when you come to my situation, come to me personally, I feel like that I helped our team a lot. I feel like not only on the field, but off the field. I feel like as a leader, I feel like obviously there's a conversation of my numbers going down. I think there's a whole lot of other stuff that happened to play. It's the NFL, you know?
So he feels like he's underpaid, and he's saying right there, he's not asking to have, be the highest paid running back in the National Football League, although he wants to be pretty highly paid, not like he's taking, a pay cut there. But it is curious to see how this is going to go ahead and grow and transform, because the Giants have made some interesting moves this offseason, but they need Saquon. They showed you last season, Daniel Jones is not going to be the MVP of the entire football team throwing the football up and down the field. I think he's good. I think he's getting better. I'm not going to slight Daniel Jones, but the offense goes through Saquon Barkley, who creates passing lanes for Daniel Jones, and then, of course, Darren Waller now, one of their great offseason tight end acquisitions. So very curious to see how this is going to go ahead and play out. I think they're eventually going to pay him. I don't think they're going to call his bluff here. I think the Giants need him a lot more than Saquon needs the Giants, and I think there are teams lined up if Saquon were to be somehow traded or released who would be interested in him. But it does go to show you that the running back market, it's not very good. It's not very strong. You don't want to grow up and be a running back right now. You want to grow up and be a quarterback right now. You want to be a wide receiver right now, or an offensive lineman. They all are more highly valued and given way better overall contracts than Saquon Barkley and other running backs are. The nature of the game, it stinks, but it is what it is, and something to keep an eye on as the Giants get closer and closer to the start of their training camp. Okay, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. Really putting a lot of emphasis on making some YouTube shorts. If you guys want to check out the shorts, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully some fun ones there as well. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.